Hey guys, my name is Dax, and today I'm going over my guide to Fire Mage and 8.0 Prepatch to BFA, and this should carry you through hopefully till you hit 120 in the next expansion. I kinda debated on if I should make this video or not, since there are already a lot of resources out there that exist, but I decided what the hell. Some of you guys liked my last video, so I might as well go ahead and give it a go. For any of the returning players to the Fire Mage, I am just quickly going to go over some of the changes in the pre-patch. The first change would be our removal of our artifact ability, giving us the talent Phoenix Flames replacing Controlled Burn. Second, the replacement of Cinder Storm with Pyroclasm. Third would be your change to Blazing Soul. It no longer refills the absorption left on your Blazing Barrier, but instead gives you a new application of the shield. Fourth, Conflagration has replaced Unstable Magic in row 90. And fifth, to replace Conflagration, and row 15 they added Searing Touch. And lastly, they added Arcane Intellect and removed Curse back to mages. I'm now going to talk about talents, and with the way talents are balanced right now, it would be a good idea to make sure you keep a stack or so of Tomes of the Tranquil Mind on you so you can switch between talents as you need without having to run back to a rest zone to do so. I'm going to talk more about situations of when I would take certain talents over others than telling you, okay, this is the best and that's it. Because I feel like this is the best way to look at your talents. It's not something that you just set it and go, it's fluid with the situations that you encounter. So for level 15 you have Firestarter, Pyromaniac, and Searing Touch. The go-to talents for this row is Firestarter and Searing Touch. For questing and general use, Firestarter is going to be out Searing Touch because it allows you to start every encounter you enter, whether it's trash mobs or just quest objectives, with an instant Pyroblast proc, and that gets you instantly into your rotation to proc some more Pyroblast and ending the encounter quickly. Most things outside of raids and certain situations don't have the health pool to make Searing Touch worth taking. The instances that you would want to take Searing Touch, though, would be certain bosses in which the boss doesn't stay at 100% HP to 90% HP for very long, or has longer phases at the end of the fight, where that execute damage given to Scorch can really shine. As for Pyromaniac, it's a bit too weak to be compared to these other two. Something that would make this work, though, would be if the proc chance got buffed to something like 15% from the 8% it sits at right now, to make it competitive with Firestarter. So look to see if they make that change, because that could change something in this row. In the next row, for level 30, we have our defensive row. We have Blazing Barrier, Blast Wave, and Shimmer. For all around use, Shimmer is still the optimal choice for its increase in mobility it provides. The only note I would make that is if you're going to be leveling with Warzone, then Blazing Soul and Blast Wave become much more attractive because Blink without Shimmer allows you to get out of stuns. Out of those two, I believe Blazing Soul would be better for survivability because after you blink, it gives you a full second shield. The knockback on Blast Wave can be really fun, especially during certain BGs, but other than that, Blast Wave doesn't provide the damage and usefulness that a second shield would provide. In row 45, we have Incanter's Flow, Mirror Magic, and Rune of Power. The go-to talent for this row would be Incanter's Flow. Incanter's Flows provides a baseline amount of damage increase from 4% and cycles all the way up to 20%. This is good for leveling and quick dungeon encounters, or longer encounters with high mobility requirement. For longer encounters and the best damage output, Rune of Power does outperform Incanter's Flow. Mirror Images is not really used because the output of damage doesn't even come close to matching the others, but if you need a good threat dump, like if you're consistently pulling threat from an undergeared tank, for instance, Mirror Images does allow you to split the threat you hold onto your copies, giving you a fade window, much like a priest. Another use would be if there's an enemy casting a spell on you, and you use Mirror Images, it will automatically switch their target to a copy of you whenever you cast Mirror Images for that specific spell cast that the enemy is casting. For level 60 we have Flame On, Alexstrasza's Fury, and Phoenix Flame. This row is dependent on which legendaries you are using, at least till level 115. Flame On is going to be your best damage output here. If you have the Dragon Fury Diam, Alexstrasza's Fury does outperform Flame On fights with 2 or more targets. Phoenix Flame is the new talent from our artifact ability. The only place to use this talent that really provides any benefit would be if you were using Soul of the Archmage legendary that automatically gives you Flame On and you took Phoenix Flames. I believe it can greatly increase how long you can keep consecutive procs going for your instant Pyroblast, because Phoenix Flame always crits. An increased proc generation can really help you with a playstyle that uses Pyroclasm with Marquee Bindings of the Sun King, but that is for later. In row 75 we have some CC utility with Phonetic Speed, Ice Ward, and Ring of Frost. Since this is all utility based row, it depends on what you're actually doing. For instance, Ice Ward would be better in situations like PvP when facing melee, but if they are ranged casters then Ice Ward is pointless and you would need Ring of Frost. Phonetic Speed can be useful in raiding in dungeons when you need to keep on the move, but still doing damage. That can be paired with Searing Touch to make it worth casting instead of Fireball once a target is under 30% health. But I would play around with this and decide what you like best here for general leveling. In the next row for level 90 we have Flame Patch, Conflagration, and Living Bomb. With the move of Conflagration, this kind of nerfs the effectiveness of Flame Patch, as they used to be able to both be picked up on different rows, and Conflagration would proc from the Ignite stacks created from the Flame Patch. But now with them on the same row, Living Bomb secures its spot as the go-to for maximum damage output in this row for AoE. Flame Patch only catches up in damage if you have a decent group of enemies like 5 or more. In PvP and other single target fights, when you're only dealing strictly with 1 or 2 targets, Conflagration will outperform both of these other talents. For the last row, level 100, we have Kindling, Pyroclasm, and Meteor. I'll start off with Pyroclasm. It is the best talent for damage output if you're going against a single target. In fact, in my last video I made, I talked about how to use Pyroclasm with Marquee Bindings of the Sun King to get some very big crits with Pyroblast, and I'll put a link to that down below. For anything other than a single target fight, I would say both Meteor and Kindling have better DPS output. Meteor does outperform Kindling, but only if mobs stick inside the Flame Patch that's left from the Meteorite. For Alno talents, I would say the best talents would be Firestarter, Tender, and Templar Shield. The synergy around Fireball with those 2 talents are really good, and Temporal Shield is on par with Ice Block when used correctly for a defensive cooldown. For the stat priority, and to be honest with how much everything is supposed to be based on item level instead of off stats, I take this with a grain of salt and not worry about this until you get closer to cap, like 117. But just so you know, I'll say it's intellect, then you want to focus on crit, then mastery, then haste, and versatility. As we saw with Legion, and really ever since Cataclysm, with Ignite as our mastery stat, but we will eventually get to a point when we will crit soft cap with stat creep, and then mastery will take over as the priority stat. Also, I suggest for Mythic and Mythic Plus to put together a early mastery priority set of gear targeted to AoE, because mastery is really effective in AoE situations. You can't switch armor anymore, but it could be useful if you're supposed to be the AoE damage carrier for those trash bags. This is pretty much all I got for you in the way of stats and talents for Fire Mage. I won't go over legendaries since they are leaving us at 115, and it won't matter in 2 weeks. But I will suggest not buying Pride as as that is pointless because we are getting the Heart of Azeroth. That's all I got for you this time. Please like this video if you like it, and subscribe if you want to. I'll see you next time.